Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. Before we get started, just wanted to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Uh, Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan and seconded by Councillor Ray that be it resolved that Council accepts the regular council meeting agenda as presented. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, and that's our regular council meeting from July the 15th of 2024. Questions or comments? All in favor indicate. Anyone opposed? None carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Whereas the Municipal Act, Section 160, bracket 2, states each member of the council must attend the public hearing unless the member is excused, is unable to attend to illness, or is required by the act to withdraw from the hearing. Be it resolved that council excuses the following members, and there are none, I don't think. So we don't need that at all. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. All in favor? We have no public hearing participants, and there's no one registered, correct? We'll just fly through that. We'll proceed with the public hearing for bylaw 05/2024, being a bylaw of the city, amending bylaw 05/2019 to close a public walkway and authorize the sale of land. City manager, what do you have to say about this?
So this is a process that the province is asking us to go through from the time that we started the process to close the walkway in 2019, and now there has been a change in requirements. Back in 2019, this process needed ministerial approval, and the original bylaw stated that. However, since then, the requirement for ministerial approval has been removed, and therefore we have to change our bylaw. So it removes that reference. So that is the only thing that is being discussed today, is the removal of the requirement for this process, or for this bylaw to have ministerial approval.
Any questions or comments from any member of council? Seeing none, then we'll make a decision. Motion by?
So this is just asking a question.
Yeah.
If we go through it.
So we have to go to, once we get there?
Then we're actually just going to give second.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so we'll then motion by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Ray, that we reconvene. All in favor? Procedural stuff, yay. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that the public hearing for bylaw 05/2024, bylaw of the City of Dauphin, amending bylaw 05/2019, be now concluded. All in favor? Yes. So we're done then. Is that right, Charlie?
Yeah, and then intent.
And then we'll do the second and third reads. All right. Moving into the consent agenda, there's a number of items there. We've had some time since our previous meeting. So we have a number of proclamations. The first proclamation today is about Welcoming Week. Councillor Sobring.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas Welcoming Week in Canada is designated as September 13th to 22, 2024, and whereas Welcoming Week is an annual celebration to come together as individuals and groups to celebrate our strengths and differences and recognize that we are at our best when everyone feels welcome and like they belong in their local community. And whereas during this week, it is encouraged that citizens show support and celebrate our community's vibrant diversity. And whereas during this week, organizations offer events and programming to help further support newcomers and immigrants to the area. And whereas we, the council, urge all citizens to show their support and celebrate Welcoming Week. And whereas council recognizes that the more welcoming communities are, the more newcomers feel at home and contribute locally. And whereas we recognize the efforts of the Dauphin and Area Welcoming Communities Coalition and Parkland Chamber of Commerce in the support given to newcomers and immigrants across the Parkland region, and that we are all stronger together. Therefore, we, the Council of Dauphin, City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim September 13th to 2024 as Welcoming Week.
Thank you, Councillor Sobring. We have another proclamation for Muscular Dystrophy Month, and I think that's Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas muscular dystrophy is a group of neuromuscular disorders that have no known cure, and in almost all cases, there are a few treatments and no way to stop the disorder's progression. And whereas Muscular Dystrophy Canada is a national nonprofit organization committed to funding research into the causes, treatments, and eventual cure of neuromuscular disorders, as well as providing public education and services to people with neuromuscular disorders. And whereas people today have the opportunity to live longer lives because of breakthroughs in medical research. And whereas only through the support of community may a cure be found. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Muscular Dystrophy Awareness Month.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. And we have one final proclamation, and that's Councillor Sakalo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas prostate cancer is the most common cancer among Canadian men, and whereas 1 in 8 Canadian men will be diagnosed with the disease in his lifetime, and whereas every day in Canada, 144 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer and 14 die from the disease, and whereas the survival rate for prostate cancer can be close to 100% when detected early, but if detected late, 3 out of 4 men will die, and whereas those with a family history of the disease or those of African or Caribbean descent are at a greater risk of developing prostate cancer, and whereas the City of Dauphin supports Prostate Cancer Canada and all individuals committed to raising awareness about prostate cancer. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, hereby proclaim September 2024 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you, Councillor Sakalo. There are a number of filing items from Growing Manitoba Ag, their newsletter for August, Prairie Mountain Health, their newsletter for summer 2024, Community Futures Parkland provided their August newsletter, Parks Canada provided an update on their zebra mussel activities, the municipality of Gilbert Plains declared a state of agriculture disaster, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities presented information regarding the provincial responses to the 2023 resolutions, and there was a news release from Transportation and Infrastructure Manitoba about the highway construction projects throughout the Parkland region. So the motion by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, be resolved that all items listed in red under 5C or under 5, the consent agenda, be approved and form part of these minutes. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the corporate report from the City Manager for the month of July. Charlotte, was there anything you wanted to highlight from your report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think I wanted to highlight anything specific, except maybe to say that the airport, when you're driving by the airport, things definitely look different with that large hangar gone. And it's been a process, as our council members who are on the airport board can attest to. It's been a process to get that taken down and cleaned up, and really wanted to give kudos to the owner and the company that he hired. In essence, I think it started as a demolition, but the owner of that building definitely has a heart and an eye for history, and has done a great job in connecting as many pieces as possible to different organizations, and he's reached out and given artifacts to the Dauphin Rail Museum and Fort Dauphin Museum and the museums in Gilbert Plains and Grandview. Also to he's contacted communities or airports that have those hangars that are still being used, and if there's any pieces that could be salvaged or any of the infrastructure or material that could be salvaged for them to use. He worked out a deal with that. And then he also found some timbers that had a stamp from a company in Montreal, and he connected them and sent some of those pieces over. And he found some bricks stamped with a company from Medicine Hat, and he's sending some bricks over to that. So really, instead of just pushing it in and taking it all to the landfill and calling it a day, lots of I think pieces of the building are living on in other places, so that's really great. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, wow, we had great summer games last week, and I know that we're probably going to hear about it from most of council members, or if not all, but I just wanted to also say that what a great community and what a fantastic job all of the volunteers did to put that together. And that's it.
Any members of council have questions about anything in the report or questions for Charla?
I just have one about the Housing Accelerator Fund. Did we just reapplied because they re-extended it? Any action on that, or?
Yes. So the economic development manager and myself attended a webinar right after it was announced, and we are going to work on a updated application. It's looking like most of the things that we applied for first in the first application that was unsuccessful, we could apply again, but we do have the opportunity this time to talk to someone from CMHC to say, why were we not chosen? We were not given that feedback after the first one, so we'll get that feedback this time and see if we can get some of that grant money.
Anyone else? If not, call for the question. Then all those in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be resolved that we accept the report from the Deputy City Manager for July. Lisa, is there anything you wanted to share with Council?
Thank you, Mayor Bosiak. I thought it might be worthwhile noting that I submitted a rather extensive application to Health Canada for funding to develop a radon action plan for Dauphin. And one of the objectives in that plan is to coordinate another 100 radon test kit campaign for each November, which is Radon Action Awareness Month. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully the funding will come through and be able to start developing an action plan. Also to increase the number of certified mitigation professionals in Dauphin, because we currently have none. So that needs to be rectified. And I thought I would just make a note as well that our bylaw enforcement officer, Robert Dodds, Bob, has been out on the beat for the last 5 or 6 weeks, and he's been doing a fantastic job. He definitely has an affinity and aptitude for parking enforcement, and that coincides with quite a bit of pressure that we've been feeling from the business community to start enforcing 2-hour parking a little bit better in the downtown, especially to make sure that businesses have spaces available in front of their establishments for customers. So just want people to be aware that rules will apply, and Bob will be out there talking tires, and is quite visible in the community, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Any questions, members of council? First, anything in Lisa's report? No. All in favor then? Anyone opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Sticalo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that we accept as information the report from our ICT manager for the month of July. Questions or comments regarding anything in that report? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. We had 147 checks in the report for a total of $4,369,323.73. There were no voided checks in the current range. There were no voided checks in the past range, and there were 6 electronic payments in July for a total of $306,720.61. Questions or comments regarding anything in the financial report? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Stakalo, be it resolved that we accept as information the unaudited financial statements before PSAB adjustments for the period ending January 2024, including the general fund balance sheet and income statement and the utility fund balance sheet and income statement. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, be resolved that we accept as information the reserve report for the period ending January 2024. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Bellemare, be resolved that Council accepts as information the 2024 property tax collection report. And Charlotte would like to add a little bit of information before we call the question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a document that council will have received is a spreadsheet from our Director of Finance, and it highlighted the tax take from 2017 to 2024, or sorry, 2016 to 2024 inclusive. And so we have years to date, or years to compare what we collect by our due date, which is July 31st, and then what we get in the first 3 months, because a lot of people do pop in the first 3 days, August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Afterwards, and try to pay their taxes on time, but they are late. This year is a little bit of an anomaly that we're finding. For the years where July 31st has been the deadline, and there was one variance from that, which was 2020 due to pandemic, and a directive from the province. 16.62% of taxes are outstanding, and usually in a comparative time, it's anywhere from 10 to 13 or so. So this year we do have a couple, 3% more outstanding taxes or unpaid taxes than we have in previous years, with no specific reason why, other than economic pressures. People have to choose where they put their money, and sometimes taxes are not the most pressing thing.
I just want to comment, though, that we did have a glitch because of the province and the changing in the software that delayed the actual tax notices going out to just the very minimum actual required time. So we met that deadline, but it was different than previous years. So I'm going to suggest possibly that some folks who may been away or something, or just it came in a little bit late, and surprise, surprise. But anyhow, that's interesting, and I credit to Scott for bringing that again, having that information and bring it to our attention. Any other comments or questions before we ask? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakalo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the engineering staff report for the meeting from the building inspector for July. Any questions or comments regarding the report from the building inspector? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that we accept as information the protective services report for the August 19th meeting, and that's from our Animal Services Office for the month of July. Questions or comments? Lisa.
Yes. So you may have noticed that there's a different format for the report. I thought since we now have a new animal services provider in place, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to review the format for the reporting and to really take a good look at what are the kinds of information that would be most useful for the public and for council to be aware of. So I put together a very comprehensive master list of reporting categories for the Animal Services Officer. There's 34 categories, and they all fall under our animal control bylaw, and they are any potential category that he may encounter incidents throughout any given month. And then those categories are included under complaints and investigations. So he will only include those categories for which he did encounter incidents that month. So I think it's quite a useful breakdown of so you can kind of see what the issues are. Clearly, it's mostly animals at large, animals that are running out in the community and are taken into the animal retention center. And I think it's also interesting to see the figures for the animal retention center intakes. So you can see that there's quite a bit of activity at the Animal Retention Center. And at the end of July, under the pending category, you can see that there's 10 listed under cats, which means that there were still 10 cats remaining at the Animal Retention Center at the end of July. I also have a category for SNAP vouchers redeemed. So our subsidized spay and neuter program is something that we're really trying to promote. And for the month of July, we had 6 dogs who were spayed or neutered under that program. I'd also wanted to just note quickly that the animal services officer has indicated to me that he's getting quite a few calls from other communities, and people just calling him, wanting to know what's going on in Dauphin in animal services, because Dauphin is becoming known as the place where things are really moving and shaking in animal services, and other communities are wanting to just take a look at what kind of initiatives we have, and I think it's really good to be a leader in that area. So hopefully you found this report to be useful, and that's all I have for today. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for anyone? I noticed that there's a barking line, but there isn't a meowing line. Never mind. Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Sorry, I guess we're tired after the games. That wasn't very funny, was it? No. Okay. Never mind. Yeah. Thanks, Sean. Yeah. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakala. Be resolved that we accept as information minutes and reports from the following committees. We've got some information from the Fort Dauphin on their 2023 annual report, their 2023 financial statements, and their manager's report for the month of June. The regular committee meeting from the Intermountain Watershed for June the 20th, and the Dauphin Rec Services regular board meeting minutes of July the 24th. Any questions or comments from any members of council that are on any of these committees besides what we received? No. Call for the question. All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you. Fairly long ones coming up. So buckle up your chin straps, folks. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas in January 2024, the City of Dauphin's longtime banking service provider, Fusion Credit Union, issued notice stating a notice of banking agreement changes effective July 24 that would result in increased costs to the city. And whereas in May 2024, in the interest of transparency and fairness, the city released an RFP for banking services to all local financial institutions that would have the capacity to meet the city's financial requirements. Be resolved that council accepts as information a memo dated August 9th from the Director of Finance advising that the city received proposals from 5 qualified institutions and recommending, after careful review, that the proposal from Scotiabank be approved. Further be resolved that council agrees with the recommendations from the Director of Finance and accepts Scotiabank's proposal for the provision of comprehensive banking services for the city and authorizes all permanent documents relating to an agreement for banking services between the city and Scotiabank be signed and sealed by the mayor and the manager on behalf of the city. Further be resolved that council approves the following council staff and staff members as signing authorities for the city. And from council, those are myself, the deputy mayor, and Councillor Bellemare. And the staff representatives are the city manager, the deputy city manager, and the director of finance. Any questions or comments regarding this resolution? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. The next Next item is moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas some facilities operated by Dauphin Rec Services were created on and/or successfully operated on a per capita funding model between the rural municipality of Dauphin and the city of Dauphin, beginning with a 1992 agreement and continuing through with a 2003 agreement. These facilities being the Vermilion Sportsplex, Parkland Recreation Complex, Credit Union Place, Rotary Arena, and associated grounds. And whereas in 2016, the rural municipality of Dauphin terminated their participation in the 2003 per capita agreement, resulting in the two municipalities entering into a new agreement in 2017, which included a fixed value contribution from the RM for operating costs and no formal commitment to capital costs, with the stipulations that all current facilities at that time continue operating and that the city shall contribute the balance of the approved operating funding requirements of the annual budget. And whereas, since 2017, the City of Dauphin has contributed their per capita share of the funding plus approximately $850,000 of additional funding to try and keep up with the demands of aging facilities and expanding programming in an effort to meet the requirements of that agreement, but admittedly struggling to keep up with the demands resulting from the reduced funding from the rural municipality of Dauphin. And whereas in 2023, the city's current council requested that the RM of Dauphin return to a per capita funding model for recreation, considering that approximately 35% of facility usage is by RM of Dauphin residents, be it resolved that council accepts as information certified resolution 2024-148 dated June 11th, 2024, from the rural municipality providing notice of termination of their participation in the 2017 Dauphin Rec Services Agreement and DRS Board as of December 31st, 2024. Further be it resolved that council accepts as information subsequent certified resolution 2024-195 dated July 23rd, 2024, from the RM, indicating that they will provide funding to DRS in the amount of $375,000 in 2025 with the following terms and conditions: that the money is to be used toward operating and capital expenditures, that the money will be paid in equal monthly installments, that the DRS is to maintain a governance board, and that the above-mentioned board include one RM of Dauphin elected official and two RM of Dauphin citizen representatives. Further be it resolved that despite the RM of Dauphin's financial contribution to recreation for 2025, the 2025 year will be underfunded compared with previous years, and therefore Dauphin Rec Services will be unable to offer the same level of operations and programming at all their facilities. Further be it resolved that the City of Dauphin remains committed to funding recreation in Dauphin and supporting DRS to the fullest extent possible. Further be it resolved that the city will continue discussions with DRS to identify necessary adjustments to operations and programmings to address the 2025 shortfall and plan for long-term sustainability of recreation in Dauphin. Further be it resolved that the City of Dauphin will engage in discussions with the Dauphin Agricultural Society regarding our partnership and future use of the grounds. And further be it resolved that the city and DRS will engage the public to gather input on recreation ideas and needs to shape the future recreation in our community. And finally, further be it resolved that the City of Dauphin and the RM of Dauphin are actively engaging in discussions regarding recreation for 2026 and beyond, with the intent of agreeing upon a reasonable, fair, predictable, reliable, long-term recreation funding model. Any questions or comments from any members of council regarding this resolution? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas the City of Dauphin has leased 396 square feet of office space in Unit B on the main floor of CNR Place to the Dauphin District Handyvan Association at $19.69 per square foot for $650 per month under a 3-year lease, which expired July 31st of this year. And whereas the lease agreement dated February 23rd, 2001 between the city and the Handyvan Association includes a provision for an additional 3-year term at a rental cost of $700 per month, and that the organization has indicated their interest in exercising this option. Be it resolved, the council accepts as information a lease extension addendum between the city and the Handyvan Association, exercising this 3-year extension for the period of August 1st of this year to July 31st of 2027, and a memorandum dated July 19th of this year from the Deputy City Manager recommending this extension be approved. And be it resolved that council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and authorizes the lease extension addendum, which, as stated, is a 3-year lease at $700 to be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager on behalf of the city. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo and seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Whereas the Noxious Weed Act requires every municipality to be responsible for the inspection and enforcement of the noxious weeds in their respective municipalities, and whereas the Act requires every municipality to appoint by resolution a weed inspector each year, be it resolved that Council authorizes the appointment of Edward Simpson, the Park's lead hand with Dauphin Rec Services, and Robert Dodds, our bylaw enforcement officer, as the noxious weed inspectors for the city as per the Act for a period ending February 28th, 2025. Further be resolved that the administration forwards the names and a copy of the appointment to the Manitoba Primary Agriculture Branch. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Daly, be resolved that Bylaw 05-2024, Bylaw of the City, amending Bylaw 05-2019 to close a public walkway and authorize the sale of land, be now read a second time. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none. And moved by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Councillor Daly, be it resolved that Bylaw 05-2024, amending Bylaw 05-2019 to close the public walkway and authorize the sale of land, be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager. This is a recorded vote. Councillor Sobring, in favor. Deputy Mayor Laughlin, yes. Councillor Stakilo, yes. Councillor Bellemare, Councillor Ray, Councillor Daly, and myself. Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be resolved that council accepts information the following invitations. Norwec's 30th anniversary, August 19th. That was this afternoon. The mayor, I was there. I attended, had a great discussion with Debbie Bolton and others, had a tour of the facility, and I commended them on their 30 years in our community, and they look forward to continuing their business here in Dauphin, so that was a good event to be at. And we have another invitation for a Truth and Reconciliation ceremony on September the 27th. And that's also to us. And further be resolved that any expenses, blah, blah, blah. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving right along. Sean, how are we doing? Yeah, attaboy. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray, that we now move to the councillor's reports for the regular meeting. And since Councillor Daly made the motion, we'll start over at his end of the table.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. July 15th was our last regular council meeting, and I attended. Then on July 17th, 18th, 25th, and 30th, I attended rec meetings here in Chambers. On the 22nd of July, I attended the PNP meeting. On August 6th, another rec meeting. August 9th, I represented and brought greetings from the city for the MMF grand opening of Meadow Care Pharmacy, which is open to everyone. And they were very, it was well attended and a first-class event. On the 10th, I attended the Dauphin Fire Department's Pancake Breakfast fundraiser, which was also very good. And from the 11th of August to the 17th, I volunteered at the Summer Games at the basketball venue, and I was the coordinator of the warehouse as well. Tremendous week, unbelievable. I don't know what else you could say. The volunteers and the organizers who spent a very long time getting this thing started did a wonderful job, and I think the community supported it. To have a virtual sellout for the opening ceremonies in an August weekend was tremendous. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. July 15th, I attended the last regular council meeting. On the 17th, 18th, I attended the special rec meetings held here at City Hall. On the 20th, I was present at the rec center to see Miles Fee in the Stanley Cup. July 22nd in the afternoon, I took part in the CSWB Teams meeting with CCFSC. And later that day, I met with council and staff for the planning and priorities meeting at City Hall. July 24th, I attended the rec committee meeting at the Cup. On the 25th, I was present at City Hall for our rec meeting held here. July 30th, I took part in the CSWB Teams meeting with local service providers in the morning, and then attended the special rec meeting in the afternoon at City Hall. On the 31st, Mike Van Alstyne, Marty Chartrand, Ron Johnson, and I represented the city in the Gilbert Plains Municipal Golf Tournament, which we had a great time at and finished second overall. Yeah, well, next year we're hoping to have Deputy Mayor with us, and that'll push us over the top. August 1st, I took in the Dauphin Street Fair, enjoyed touring the booths and listening to the bands. On the 12th, I took part in the CSWB Teams meeting with CCFSC. From the 12th to the 15th, I helped out at the Manitoba Summer Games, primarily with volleyball. On the 17th, I attended the Summer Games closing ceremonies, and I would just like to take this time to congratulate all the organizers of this week-long event. Our facilities were top-notch. The sponsorship from local businesses was awesome, and the total number of volunteers that stepped up to offer their support was fantastic. It was a great event, and we should be very proud. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. On July 16th, we had a Riverside Cemetery meeting. 22nd was planning and priorities. And 2 days, July 31st and August 9th, I attended 2 of the 8 online training sessions because we've just bought new software for the cemetery called Web Cemeteries. And while there are many, many great new features for this program to provide better service at the cemetery, we also have more policy work to do to figure out how we're going to fit this into the operation. August 3rd, as part of the city entry, I rode my bike in the Ukrainian Festival Parade and handed out cards promoting the online survey for our community safety and well-being plan, targeting mainly youth ages 16 to 24, as we're wanting to hear more of that, more from them in our survey results. I attended a community safety and well-being meeting today. Community events, I attended the pep rally at the end of July and also volunteered at the Summer Games several times, the triathlon at Clear Lake, and also in the kitchen. And in the kitchen, there were lots of kids, athletes, who took the time to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And it was just really impressive to see their enthusiasm and had an awesome week. So, you know, I concur with what has been said by the other 2 councillors already. Big congratulations. There's just been a lot of people that put in a lot of effort, and the result was pretty amazing. I also like to give a big thank you to our IT manager, Justin Tokarczuk. He recently hired a hacker company to look at our computer system to see where our vulnerabilities are. And while there are a few things to address, we really passed the test. And they said some pretty impressive things, like it's definitely one of the cleaner environments that he's tested. So that's kudos to Justin and all the work that he's done. And I think in our community and in our business lives and stuff, we've seen lots of hacked computer systems. So it's just great to know that there are ways to fight back and try and make our system stronger. And thank you for Justin for his leadership. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Stikilo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, July 15th, regular council meeting. August 15th was an airport board meeting. I too was in attendance for a number of the special rec board meetings that we had here, along with Councillor Ray and Councillor Daly and the mayor. July 18th, 25th, 30th, August 6th. A lot of discussion and a lot of time gone into to discussing those matters. I attended the street fair on August 1st, and congratulations to everyone involved. Again, great weather and a great event. And then from August 11th to the 17th, I was able to volunteer some of my time through a couple of different places throughout the summer games. And just like every other counselor, I would just want to offer congratulations and a big thank you to the organizers, all the volunteers, all the athletes, and it was just a great event. And Dauphin once again answered the call of stepping up and providing a top-notch event. And I think we were able to showcase the city very well. I knew a few people that were in town that were participating in the games, and I heard quite a few compliments about the city, and since the last time individuals were here, about how the city's progressed and all of the great things that are happening here in Dauphin. So again, just a congratulations, and it was a great event. And that ends my report. Thanks.
Thank you. And Deputy Mayor Lachlan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For me, July 15th had that regular council meeting at City Hall. On the 20th, as Councillor Ray mentioned, I helped host former Dauphin King Miles Fee, who brought the Stanley Cup back to Dauphin. It was a really good crowd. As you may have predicted, a lot of people that came to that event went to the Barry Trotz event back in 2018, but they didn't get the opportunity to see the Stanley Cup because there were so many people. So it was good to see those people come out and get an opportunity to see the Cup. And I'd even argue that Miles Fee was more of an attraction than the Stanley Cup itself, but nonetheless, a great event at the Parkland Rec Complex. On July 22nd, Planning and Priorities meeting here at City Hall. On the 25th, at City Hall as well, Communities in Bloom meeting. As mentioned, August 11th to the 17th, I attended a number of events and festivities for the Manitoba Summer Games. Won't go on too much because most of council's already spoken about it, but just a great event. Just the buy-in level from the community as a whole. It felt like everyone I talked to had their hands in the games in some sort of capacity, whether it be from the start or all the way to the end. It was great to see the community come together, and obviously congratulations to the organizers and the volunteers that all took part. A couple more meetings between now and then. On the 15th, had the RM liaison meeting here at City Hall, and also on August 15th, airport board meeting. That one took place at the airport just south of town. And for me, that ends my report.
Thank you. And Councillor Sobering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended the July 15th regular council meeting and the July 27th planning and priorities meeting. I guess this last couple months has been very busy for Dauphin. Probably quiet on the council side, but very busy on the community side. With the Ukrainian festival, the street fair, the Manitoba Games. A lot of it is I've been kind of viewing from the lens of my other businesses. I've been welcoming a lot of people into the community and seeing just the action and activity and the positive attitude. And I guess I do want to congratulate all the athletes and the sponsors and the volunteers, all the organizers. It was a well done, and even our own Martine and Ember, and putting on the evening event, Sienna in the Park, party every night. It was just really good feeling to see a lot of youth engaged in a positive activity, filling the city, making it feel welcoming and safe, and just very vibrant. And I wish we could have that 365 days a year, but I think probably the volunteers would would probably burn out very quickly. But all in all, I just get a really good sense that our city is definitely on a upward swing. And it seems like all the projects that we're tackling are really moving us forward. And it doesn't take a genius to see with the construction and the new buildings and the new businesses and the new highway stuff. We're definitely in a growth phase, and it's because of the people that work hard to make our city great. So I think that's where I'm going to end it, and that ends my report.
Thank you. And I'll just wrap up just on a couple of major issues that were included in today's meeting. In particular, we reached out to the RM to bring them back to the table to have a discussion about recreation. So as Deputy Mayor Lachlan indicated, we did have a meeting with the liaison committee that was, I had a lunch meeting with the Reeve the week before just to try and set that up. And so just to, to reaffirm that we are very interested in getting into a long-term arrangement with the rural municipality on recreation. But we made it very clear at the liaison meeting and otherwise that, we are well on our way to planning for 2025. Regardless of what has transpired over the last couple of months. And so there's been very positive discussions. I know many, Councillor Ray, Councillor Daly, Councillor Stakilo, Deputy Mayor Lachlan have been involved in some of those meetings with the RM, and I think they've been very about recreation regarding the RM's moves. And I think that, we're moving forward, and I want to commend Council for the effort, and as well, Ryan and Lindsay from DRS, who have been, right on board from the very beginning of that process. And then obviously the games, what a tremendous legacy. And it's from a number of different angles. Obviously, we've all mentioned the volunteer legacy, but I got a sense in the community, talking to people and just getting a vibe that I don't want to say we're back post-COVID, but the amount of togetherness of people being out and about in public and on a daily basis and basically working side by side with somebody behind a counter or at a venue that was missing for the last couple of years post-COVID. And this was our opportunity to come out. And I can't count the number of times I overheard volunteers either talking to me directly or just hearing people say, yeah, I volunteered, but I don't know if they were fully committed, but they knew they had to step up. Then when they did, and they had a shift, and then they went, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm not on the schedule, but I want to come back. And the number of comments I heard from people, I got to wash my volunteer T-shirt, and to be ready for tomorrow or the day after. So kudos to the volunteers and the people of Dauphin who stepped up again. Just a couple of weeks after the Ukrainian festival, which is just a couple weeks after Country Fest and the fair, to step up. So huge congrats to our volunteers. I also want to shout out to the organizing committee, the 50 or so people there on the executive committee that for 6 years, and those of you that were at the opening ceremonies, brought a tear to my eye when Charlotte, Clayton Swanton's daughter, stood up and, said the games were on, but Clayton provided the story of how Charlotte's 6 years old going into grade 1, and she was 3 weeks old when we signed up for the 2020 games. And so just the length of time that the committee put in, and hats off to Clayton Swanton, Charla, and Carla Wolfenden for leading that volunteer committee, and the many other people who stood up big time. And I want to also shout out to our city staff. I was around at most of the venues, front stage, backstage, and to see so many staff members doing full duty. Many of you worked during the day and then volunteered afterwards. Many of you volunteered all day as part of work and or related to work or around work. So it was just wonderful to see the engagement. And then finally, so there's a legacy on the volunteer side and a sense of community, but there's also the real legitimate infrastructure legacy that the Games has provided us with. And we have over $2.5 million of new or refurbished infrastructure in our community that includes Northgate, the track, the new score clock, the volleyball floor, the sporting equipment that is being left in our community. And I was just so pleased to see the video that was shown at the closing ceremonies that highlighted all of our facilities in prime condition. And to see the energy and the enthusiasm and the color and the vibrancy in our community. And then finally, I just want to shout out to Dauphin Rec Services that they just busted their behinds for the whole week. And I don't know if any of you got the same feeling that I did. I had goosebumps when I was in the facility during first phase. The pool was hopping. Swimming was occurring. There were volleyball games occurring in the arena. There was basketball going in the curling rink. The parking lot was full. People were camping on the back of the grounds here. Vermilion Park was literally full of campers, and just to see the energy, you can't we can't account for all of that value. So again, hats off to the citizens, our community at large, staff, council members that were out and about and being involved. And I think it was a tremendous, it was just tremendous to see that we showed up and we pulled it off, and it was amazing. And hate to say it, but what's next? And I know Councillor Daly smirks, but after 2004, that led to the Royal Bank Cup and the Western Canada Cup and curling championships and volleyball and basketball provincials and lots of good stuff. So hats off, Dauphin. You did a tremendous job. So with that, I'd like to call for the question. All those in favor of council reports? Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that council meeting be recessed at 5:50 p.m. All in favor?